Y'all, welcome back to another video. So we ended up passing the accounts, as you can see, and what's it called? Yeah, so we ended up passing the account, and we're currently down 700, but that's fine. All right, that's fine. So talking about the trade that passed us the account, which was on gold. So starting on the 4 hour, I marked out this low over here as a point where price would probably sweep, but we ended up pretty much double bottoming and end up reversing here. So as price started to reverse from this area, I wanted to see confirmation on the 1 hour, and we ended up breaking over this high, closing above. And so that was my confirmation to now look for longs within the bearish 4 hour structure. So pretty much trading the retracement. So within that, we had this impulse here, and from here, I was just waiting for the correction. And once we had this hourly close over here, we left a fair value gap, um, which, as you know, I don't really trade off them, or I do. Um, they're pretty good when they're like when I spot them. I just try to spot the obvious ones, and this one was a really obvious one. And I believe this also probably just lines up with the 50% fib as well. So as price retraced, we retraced back into this gap here, within this correction range. And so as price was starting to push down, honestly, I thought by the time price came down here, I thought we were probably going to close below and possibly just continue the bearish structure to take out this low down here. But price ended up pushing right back up, closing above the EMA here, which is another nice confluence. And on the 15-minute, once we ended up what's it called, pushing down, but right around here, I was also looking at the 15-minute to see what kind of volume and stuff that was happening over here. And once this candle closed, we swept the low. A lot of momentum came back up, and essentially buyers stepped in around this area, which is really nice. And I was really confident that we would take out these highs over here at least, and possibly even come up into this supply zone later, which we did, obviously did. So with that, once this 15 over here had closed, I went on the 5-minute and saw my entry, which was this impulse correction, anticipating the next impulse, and I ended up buy stopping this high here, and my stop was right around this area, and it should have really been like right here, but it was fine. I obviously targeted what I needed to pass the account, and from there it was passed, and that was really the trade. And this was a really nice trade. If I don't know if this would have stopped us out, had I had like an extra yeah, that would have stopped us out for break even on the extra cons. But regardless, really clean trend on gold for the remainder of the sessions going into New York. But yeah, that was the trade that passed us the account. Now the trades that lost on the funded account was on oil. And I'll admit, I had no business trading at this time after I passed the account. Uh, but yeah, starting on the 4 hour, like I always do, structure is looking bullish, so I'm obviously looking for longs on my in the given direction of my higher time frame. And so on the 1 hour, we were essentially just pulling back the whole time. Then later in the session, we ended up, I think I drew out the 50% fib. Let's see. I guess yeah, it's a little bit more over here. I just draw that right here. So at the time as well, we had this trend line that was that had formed, and we also came in and tapped into the 50% of the whole entire range with this fib over here. So once price had came in and closed like this under the EMAs, I was looking to see what the next hourly candle would do. And honestly, I was waiting to see whether this would continue the trend lower or break out of the trend line that we have here. And on it really just gave us a consolidation candle, nothing much. So then the midnight candle came in and ended up pushing down and sweeping this low before and honestly before it even like closed like how it is, I thought we were honestly going to continue the direction lower. But with that, with the sweep here, it ended up closing really nicely. So that's when I started to look for longs um to possibly take out these highs up here. And on the 15 minute, this is when I entered the trade on the 15 rather than the 5 like I normally do. And obviously, when we had swept this low, I was looking at the 15, and volume ended up coming in really, really nicely. And that was a bit of confidence that possibly this was ready to go. And I was right. I was partially right. As you can tell, I I believe I got in on the 5 minute. I put two orders here, two orders here, and then another one at this high. And 2 a.m. pretty much put us into the trade, and we got that move that I really wanted, but it wasn't enough to put us to where I wanted to go break even at, which is okay. And ultimately, price ended up stopping us out with this candle down here. But the second trade was essentially the same trade. I ended up taking it right around here. And the reason as to why I took that was despite how this candle closed, the 15 minute still looked pretty good. Like right around here, this range within the entry was still valid. This despite this sweeping the low, it did not close below this low. We didn't have a candle closure under this low, so the entry was still valid for me. And as price started to really, really push with a lot of volume at this time with this candle, I ended up just getting in with like I think 4 contracts, something like that. I had more risk on this than I had on the previous trade, which is honestly the wrong thing to do. I should have just either just kept the same amount of risk that I had. I think I risked about like 250 on this trade in the first trade, and I no no I no I had like uh just realized I pretty much said everything that I needed to say, but my mic was not even on. So back to where I was, I essentially I think I was around like right here and explaining to the point where I got in with 3 contracts, I believe, and I used this point as my stop loss down here. Price ended up just running it, and not doing anything after that. Just maybe a little bit back in profit, and then ended up selling further into the session into New York. And at the time, I noticed that when I got into this trade, I honestly I should have closed it a lot earlier rather than letting it just hit my stop loss because as of recently, gold and oil have been pretty much like inversing each other. So I noticed that gold just had a lot of strength, and the way structure was moving on it, it clearly looked like it was going to continue higher into the supply zone that I had drawn out. And knowing that, like, this was pretty much the area. And once I saw this candle come up and close like this, I was like, yeah, this probably this trade I'm in is definitely going to lose. But the greed in me just decided just stay in the trade when I shouldn't have. I should have just taken my L, but should have cut my losses a lot quicker. But nonetheless, just gotta learn from it. Honestly, like can't do nothing about that. But despite that, we're down 700, and due to my actions, I couldn't trade NQ because I pretty much locked myself out of the account around like when I woke up around like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So I didn't want to throw away whatever I had left, and simply just decided to stay disciplined and say, hey, let me just come back during Asia or even tomorrow during New York and see what I can do. And yeah, pretty much, yeah, NQ had really nice setups that I saw. This thing just ran today, and yeah, it is what it is. But I mean, what can I do? So I mean, that's really it. Down 700. See if we can bring this back. And yeah, see you guys.